All right.
Hi. I want to welcome everybody to our 7th episode of 30 Something Podcast. We do
It's a lucky number.
apologize for the technical difficulties that have been changes. So, but we're just gonna roll with it.
Yes.
We have Kamiko on this set with us. We have Buns on the set. I'm Drea, and we have Shay. So thank you for everybody for tuning in.
Yes.
And we do want to thank These Beats Ain't Free. Although we didn't get to hear the music, we always want to send a shout out to.
We do.
Send a shout out to.
We didn't hear the music this time.
To Jay Rose for the beat. So what we were going to do is go ahead and do the drawing from last week. We did another set of tickets from Beats and Paint.
Whoop.
And we're going to go ahead and do that drawing.
I won.
And shout out to Farrell and Lisa.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, Farrell is not here today, Prego. And Lisa, she is not here as well. But they will be commenting in the comment section so you guys can see them there.
And Lisa's going to join us on the call.
Yes, she will.
All right. So the winner is, can I get a drum roll?
Tamika Powell. Tamika, you will be joining
That's
Beats
my
and
girl.
Paint
Right.
and 30 Something Podcast on this Saturday from
This
6 to
Saturday.
9.
And she's
at
going to
the
love that.
lounge
She loves
downtown.
that.
So you're going to come and turn up with us. We will be in the building. And also, I forgot to mention, we are having a wonderful guest on the show. He's going to be Skyping in.
Yes.
Is going to be attorney Lee Merritt.
Yes.
And he's going to be discussing a few things pertaining to the Jordan Edwards case. It's the 1-year anniversary of the tragic loss of Jordan Edwards by the Balch Springs Police Department. And also he'll be chiming in on some of the R. Kelly, the latest on the R. Kelly fiasco. So
His nastiness.
yeah, that part. So we're going to go ahead and go to commercial.
Well,
And
we have the video.
Oh.
The video for.
yeah,
the-
we have another video for Beats and Paint. So just for you guys who want to go and register for that, you can go on our page, and we have a link there for you to register for Beats and Paint.
This looks like a party. Nobody's even painted yet.
That's the party goers. You know, they have the option too.
I'm getting old. I start counting.
I saw
cuss words
I
and
saw a
songs.
post on the these beats ain't I'm not these beats ain't free Beats and Paint, and they were telling you the type of clothes to wear nice casual clothes, but they'll give you an apron to cover up, and then they said bring a few dollars also because they're gonna have a cash bar, right,
And also food available.
and
for
also
purchase.
food available, and we have a code
Yes.
to get a discount. So if you'll use our code 30 THIRTY, you will get a discount on your ticket. So save that little money and you can use it at the bar.
Right.
So, with that being said, we can jump into the commercial, and then we'll be back.
Yes.
Right back. Stay tuned. Don't go
Are you not hot? It's hot in here. I'm hot. No, I'm hot.
No, but it was a
Wild
hot
Monkey
guy.
Design was there for me. They pay for my medication and even
Not that
deliver it
kind
to
of
my
hot.
door.
We need Metro Man.
Do you
For all
struggle
of your
putting
air
beans in your
conditioning
chicken
and heating
roast?
services,
Nothing you
please
try seems to
contact
work?
Metro Air Conditioning and Heating Services at
Now you can put those words behind you with a Grinder Bean 2.0.
or visit him on the
Brought to
web
you by Wild
at
Monkey Design.
metroacs.com. You can also find him on Facebook at Metro Air
We don't do any-
Conditioning and Heating Services. He's been in business since 1990, a member of the Better Business Bureau with a AAA rating, and he may not be hot, but he'll make sure that you're not. Now, where's that other guy?
We're a Wild Monkey Design, your identity design firm. We do web design, web development, analytics, SEO, social media integration, logo design, and layout design. Call us today for a quote. Hey,
Back. We apologize for the commercial. We're getting used to some new things at the studio. It's okay, but we still have a great show planned tonight.
Yes.
And I believe right now we're going to go into what now with Drea.
Yeah, so since I'm already irritated, let's just get into it.
Get it, girl.
So, over the course of the week, Bill Cosby has been the talk of
Yes, he has.
all over social media. Like, I have never been so annoyed with my people before. I mean, I have, but, not in this particular instance. I didn't think it was going to go this far. So, just to bring everyone up to date, 80-year-old comedian Bill Cosby has been found guilty of 3 counts of indecent sexual assault against Andrea Constand in 2004. Bill Cosby got to start acting in 1960. Throughout his career, there have been several accusations against him for sexual assault. 60. Okay, so several 60. So there's been 60 women that have come forward accusing him of all kinds of cultural backgrounds. They're from all different cultural backgrounds. So it's not just white women. I think about 9 of them were black as well. And so in 2005, there's a deposition for a civil case involving Ms. Constand as well. Bill Cosby admitted to obtaining the hypnotic sedative Quaaludes to have sex with young women. One of the jurors on his trial where he was just convicted said that he based his decision on that alone. And so just
he admitted to it.
Right. So let's just qualify what sexual assault is. So the federal government defines sexual assault as any non-consensual sexual act. Was the person cognitive enough to make at the point of sexual contact to make consent to the actual sexual act itself? So were you aware at the time that this was happening? That was the only question. And when you drug somebody, they're no longer aware of what's going on at the point of sexual contact. So social media, like somebody set fire to social media after the guilty verdict was read. So some people were trying to become like lawyers. So it was like this whole SVU thing that was going on. I got into it with somebody. You remember the girl I got to? I ended up having to block that girl.
Oh, yeah. She kept.
Yeah, she was really tripping. Like
back.
she was producing all kinds of evidence, and and some people were really. Oh, it was crazy. Like she was going in. She was like trying to read the witness statements and saying this doesn't sound right, and I just feel like they're trying to set him up.
I do feel like it's a bit of both. And then when you said that he admitted to giving them Quaaludes. Did he say
intentions of having sex?
He said with the intentions of having sex with them. Well, we're talking about something from the 1970s or the 1960s. Like they ate Quaaludes for breakfast. So these women probably already were interested, or they went. I think that these women went over there with the intention to get something from him. They didn't know what they were going to have to give up. But I think they went over there with the intention, and then they probably did take drugs with him. Yeah. I don't believe. I'm not saying that he didn't do anything to anyone.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, I think that we, as women, and I know that you have something that you want to express and say. I think that we as women, we want to oftentimes not admit to the intentions that we had. Also.
Well, and then, even with that, I feel that the timing of it all came about, and I know everybody's aware of the whole conspiracy theory of him going to purchase NBC, and they didn't want him to do that.
Right, everybody was saying that too.
60 people though.
I don't
feel.
But some people started popping up later, and if somebody else is getting money and I went over his house before, then maybe I got sexually assaulted too.
I'm not saying he didn't.
So now they
do
could
it.
be making up. 60 people could be making up a story.
No, I'm not saying he didn't.
Out of all the people that he came in contact with.
60 people.
I'm saying that it was brought about at the right time because of what he was trying to do, and had he not tried to do that, those 60 people probably wouldn't have said anything.
Well, okay, so I think what people aren't aware of is that this has actually been going on for a really long time. Like people have been coming forward a really long time, and so this is when everything came to a head. when she had her civil trial in 2005, everything came to a head at that point. And then after that, Me Too got involved, and it was a slight influx, but he was known in the industry for this. Like, this is not something. Yeah, this ain't nothing. This is new to us.
And then didn't some of the women have like year-long relationships with this guy, this person that's sexually assaulting them? I'd like to look at both sides of everything.
So
once he drugged them,
I think
he was
right,
right.
because you can't
All
just
60
drug anybody. I mean, and this is so close to me because
lot.
this situation happened to a personal friend of mine where she
Drugged?
was drugged. Yes. So I do know if you're planning to drug someone, there is a reason. Like, you're not doing it, oh, hey, let's have some. Because then both of y'all will be doing the drugs.
Right, it's not like somebody else is buying the drugs. He said he bought the drugs
for
to
them.
give.
Right.
It's
It's not like
I
he
didn't
was
hear
like,
that with
I
the
pop
intention.
one, you pop one,
I heard
and
that.
Yeah,
let's
he
both
doesn't.
get high together. It's not,
Right.
It wasn't that situation.
Right.
So at any point were they raped? Was it like, oh?
So they weren't
call the
aware
police?
of what was happening during that time. So when you take a hypnotic sedative, like, you are completely out of it.
You
Oh,
are.
Like,
okay.
you're,
Like,
he's
that's
essentially
kinda
having
gross.
sex with a
Drunk
corpse.
Yeah.
Like drunk
No, it's
people.
worse than drunk sex. Like,
that ain't. I don't
yeah.
see what fun he got out of that. But okay.
so
he may be a control freak.
So, I also want to bring up R. Kelly as well, because I feel like we're talking about sexual predators. So, R. Kelly, he was on the internets today.
The internet.
Yeah. So this is the second freak of the industry that I'm going to talk about. Mr. Robert Sylvester, the molester, Kelly.
Robert Sylvester.
I just want to say he jammed. Like, his jams don't have nothing to do with his personal life.
You still gonna listen to his music?
But
You're not
they're
gonna
trying to
mute
boycott
R.
his
Kelly?
music now.
When I
Mute.
tell you, I go
I can't-
dry.
Kelly.
I can't make any decisions toward this situation. I would just say, as a private citizen, I listen to his music, and that's it.
Right. So
I know a lot of
later
people like that.
on, we'll be getting to Mr. Kelly's case that he has right here in Dallas. The 51-year-old is being investigated by police, by DPD. He is old, for knowingly and intentionally giving a 19-year-old woman an STD, an incurable STD at that. And so,
And that's serious.
yeah, and
That is.
And he's gonna pay.
And the 19-year-old is being represented by attorney Lee Merritt, who we will be talking to a little bit later. Mr. Kelly, who has somehow managed to escape the court of public opinion, even after being ousted for having a 14-year-old black girl as a sex pet, is somehow complaining that the latest canceling of his show is a public lynching. Are you kidding me? He said that these were over concocted rumors that they canceled his show. Does he remember that Aaliyah was a child when he married her? So
I mean,
They've been letting him do
that's what I'm saying. That
for years.
everybody
And the
gets to
parent-
do what they want.
and I always find somebody that did something wrong too. I feel like the parents allowed a lot of this stuff to go on, and then when it didn't, when they finally their conscience start setting in on them, then they want to start speaking out and they want to say something. Why didn't you stop him from the beginning?
right,
Just because
so
you want your
there's-
daughter to be a star, you
there's
don't
a
let nobody
rape-
go and fuck. Like, no, you don't do
Black-
that.
Different cultures of
There's
people
a-
marry young.
Yeah, but we're talking about American culture, and so this feeds into the narrative of rape culture that we have in the Black community. And I just had a few things that I wanted to get off of my chest in regards to this, because I am so tired of people putting on their cape trying to save these perverts. So, growing up Black, we were always taught that we should never bring the Black man down, because this white man's world does it enough, and there's no question to the validity of that statement until it's weighted and waged against the compliance of Black women, which cost us all peace. Always uplift him, even when it's to his own goddamn detriment. Even if it's at your own expense, just keep him lifted in prayer. So we intercede on his behalf and we pray away his sins and forgive him as we wash away our blood-soaked sheets and crotch of our panties. As we sweep away the dust-like ash of the memories burned in our brains and cast them in a pile under the rug of time. The time that he will never spend behind bars. The time that we spend as prisoners in our own minds because nobody cared to believe us, or we knew better than to wear that short skirt, or she doesn't really look 14. The time we spend trying to pick up the pieces again, never fully trusting another man again. We survive simply by separating him from his penis. Bill Cosby from Heathcliff Huxtable, we can separate those two. And we separate R. Kelly the entertainer from R. Kelly the predator. We separate uncle or cousin from that one night that they had one too many, or that guy in college from that time he got tired of you teasing him. As a community, we do indeed need to have a hedge of protection around our own, but we must also have the discernment of knowing when to lift that barrier of protection so that everyone else who remains within can still benefit. Yes, Weinstein, Trump, and Lauer should indeed be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, but we can't cognitively make a decision to go around parading this belief that black men should be allowed to rape with the same freedoms as white men do. That shows no compassion to black women or to any women at all who've been victimized. We have a cultural responsibility to one another, and we can't violate that by reversing the psychology of it. We should not be afraid to call these bastards out and hold them to the fire for what they have done. There's enough room for that kind of protection, solidarity, and justice all at the same time. And that's my 2 piece. That's my 2 cents.
Girl, that was like a poem. I was like spoken word.
It was, and I agree with a lot of what you said. And I think that when we talk about R. Kelly versus talking about Bill Cosby and everybody, I think that the difference is that we're not giving them excuses, or we're not trying to excuse them from the acts. It's just that we don't want to criminalize them so much because we'll jump down the backs of our own. I think we'll jump down the backs of our own people.
Committing criminal offenses. Like I'm saying, because I have a 14-year-old daughter, and I'm gonna feel some type of way if some grown-ass man tries to turn her into a sex pet.
I was actually sexually assaulted, so it's very near and dear to my heart. I understand it.
Okay.
And I also think that's why I feel like I can see both sides of it, because I can even though you don't never want to take the blame, like it never should have happened to you.
Right.
But there was some things that I should have known, or there were some things that I should have done to not put myself in certain type of situations, to be victimized that way.
Okay.
So thank you. I really enjoyed your segment, though.
Thank you. So what we're going to do is Lisa is calling in, and she's going to chime in on the subject as well. Lisa, you there? Lisa.
Okay, if Lisa isn't here, then we could probably get her back on the line.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, we hear you.
I was pressing mute like y'all told me to.
Okay.
Hey, 30-something.
Hey, sis.
We miss you.
Yes, we do.
I miss you guys, too. Do y'all miss me like Varnell Hill?
Like who?
Yes.
Varnell Hill? Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so everybody, I am only here so that I won't get fined like my son Lance. However, I can't hear y'all no more, so I'm going to give my 2 cents in regards to the What Now topic. Now, before I do that, I do want to remind you guys to purchase your tickets for Beats and Paint. It's coming up this Saturday. And if you guys post in the link that you have purchased your tickets, what I'm going to do is I'm going to randomly select someone and buy a gift card to a nice restaurant. Fast food restaurant.
Lisa, will it be
one of the ones that we are not boycotting? I'm
one of the ones we're not boycotting.
To give me a rolling list of the restaurants that we're boycotting, because I can't keep up with them. I've been eating grits from Waffle House all week.
Now we're supposed to be boycotting Waffle House,
right? Because they getting sued too.
They are. Now, before I talk about Robert and Bill Cosby, I do want to briefly say something about Kanye West. And I know Kanye. I know Buns is going to cover that topic, but I just want to briefly speak my piece. Kanye says slavery is not a choice.
Oh, yeah, he did.
And I completely disagree. What I like for Kanye to do is to put a bra on and a muzzle on his mouth, because I don't want to hear him. Now, as far as...
so funny.
He was ashy, too.
She is funny, Kanye.
Y'all know I'm saying all this with a straight face.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm trying to figure out in 2018... why we are still acting shocked, surprised, bewildered, whatever word you find in the thesaurus about R. Kelly's relationship with minors. in 1994 when he wrote the song and produced it for Aaliyah, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, he let us know what he wanted, what he liked as far as young girls. To me, we as a community, like Drea said, we ignored it. People had different motives. I'm blaming Barry Hankerson. I'm blaming Gladys Knight because she was married to Barry. I'm blaming Aaliyah's parents.
Everybody.
He could have been stopped a long time ago.
Yeah, he could have.
He should have.
Something been done when he married Aaliyah.
The black community coddles
Was it illegal?
black men.
They did,
And we don't. We always want to keep
so
everything in
good.
the house. What happens in
They
the house stays in the house.
Some from a G. Is that the song he did?
Yeah.
Were any of them like under?
Yeah, then when he believed he could fly, y'all know all black people was like, R. Kelly, that's my man. So, I mean, this should have been stopped a long time ago.
Yeah, that's
He
true.
has already made it clear he likes anything that has the word teen.
But you see,
in
he
it.
got away with it
And
for a long time
He did.
because he was dealing with African American women.
Right.
But like you said, it was 60 and 9 of them may have been African American with Bill Cosby, and they're publicly lynching him and putting him,
Right.
out in the public. R. Kelly, not as much. So
Yeah.
that's why when I said I agree with what you said with your
Yeah.
speech and everything about how we are as a black community, that's so true. We do that. I'm sorry.
But
Lisa.
people are defending Bill Cosby, talking about how he wanted to buy NBC and all of that, and that's why there was a big deal made about it. Here's the thing. I love A Different World. I named my dog Dwayne Wayne because I love that show. However, I'm not giving him a pass because he acknowledged in his deposition that he gave them pills.
Yeah.
I think this is my suggestion, and then I'm going to let the ladies continue the show.
Okay.
This is what everyone should do when they decide they want to defend sexual predators. Read the statement as, R. Kelly is having sex with my 14-year-old daughter,
Right.
my 14-year-old sister. Bill Cosby drugged my mother,
Then it's different.
my aunt,
Right.
my
Then it's an
sister,
outrage.
Yeah.
my daughter. Then when you take the words my in place of people that you don't know, then you can see those people for who they really have presented themselves as.
I like that, Lisa. That's true.
So at any point they can't bring up like a sexual addiction like other people do or other races do. They go to rehab and like all is forgiven. So
And
we don't have.
I mean,
that.
he should go to rehab or
Okay.
seek some type of therapy.
Because he had issues with his mother. And I just wanted to say we always defend when I say, oh, that person acting crazy and that person acting crazy, and y'all teach me to like look at things objectively because of these people's mental conditions.
But that
and R.
would-
Kelly has a mental condition.
And he might, but the thing is, if you really truly believe that you have a problem, then you have to take ownership of that problem and
Right.
then
And
see.
he was neglectful.
Right, but if it's now a fetish and it's you are now committing a crime
Right.
due to having this fetish, then
we
you
have a
need to be
justice
handled as
Right.
accordingly. Period.
I agree with that too.
Well, we appreciate you calling in, and we hope that you feel better. And we are ready for you to be
Farrah
back on
said
set.
they have a hashtag Kanye.
Yes, she did. She said that should be a hashtag. I thought she said that should
Kanye.
be Kanye.
Girl, you got
Yeah,
me.
Kanye.
That's
That's
the
what I
good
thought. And for Kanye, I just want to say one last thing. Kanye needs to remember that he is black first before anything instead of trying to appeal to his oppressor. And that's for anyone who believes that they have now gained acceptance in white America. You are black first. That's my whole my whole thing. You still gonna be seen as black. So Kanye West, get it together.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Adios.
So now we're gonna get off into culture, and we have a very.
I mean, I'm here for my boy Kanye. So, I actually have a video of I call him Kanye Kardashian.
He has so many
I
names.
I think it was today.
Kanye.
He spoke with TMZ regarding some of his ideas. So
Slavery
we'll just run
thing,
it.
to me, slavery for 400 years. For 400 years, that sounds like a choice. Like, you was there for 400 years and it's all of y'all? You know, like, it's like we're mentally in prison. I like the word prison because slavery goes too direct to the idea of blacks. It's like slavery, Holocaust Jews, slavery is blacks. So prison is something that unites us as one race, blacks and whites being one race. That we're the human race. Do you feel that I'm feeling? Do you feel that I'm being free and I'm thinking free?
I actually don't think you're thinking anything. I think what you're doing right now is actually the absence of thought. And the reason why I feel like that is because, Kanye, you're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to believe whatever you want. But there is fact and real world, real life consequence behind everything that you just said. And while you are making music and being an artist and living the life that you've earned by being a genius, the rest of us in society have to deal with these threats to our lives. We have to deal with the marginalization that has come from the 400 years of slavery that you said for our people was a choice. Frankly, I'm disappointed, I'm appalled, and brother, I am unbelievably hurt by the fact that you have morphed into something, to me, that's not real.
Needs to be off TV.
So I'll say,
slavery for 400 years.
I totally felt Buddy at the end. He thought that through, and it was good and heartfelt and warm and humane. I also understand where Kanye is coming from. I'm still straddling the fence with slavery being a choice, but if you allow
Are you straddling the fence?
I am. But if you allow something for 400 years as a whole, what he's saying is, okay, you were enslaved, and then a whole group of people allowed that for 400 years. You chose to allow that because you let it happen, and I definitely agree with that.
Hang on, real quick. Hold on.
You chose to let it happen. You could have struck against that.
Do you feel like that there were no slave uprisings though? Because the proof is in the psychology, right? Because we still have proof of it. We're still suffering from PTSD from slavery right now.
So as a whole.
But I'm saying, like, so even if all the slaves were rising up, let's say, okay, we decide that we're gonna kill him. Okay, that's fine. So when you get to the next person's house, oh, your husband decided that he was gonna run away, so we're gonna castrate your son right in front of you.
But then on top of that, like they already had conditioned our minds
on the ship on the way. Like it started.
And then
from
we came to a whole nother country where we did not know the map.
It's still a choice.
We did not know the map.
No, it was
we did not know
choice.
the language. We did not have any.
You had your language beaten out of you.
The ladies or
the
people that jumped over the ship. That was the choice. The women that jumped over the ship.
No,
to die and then not to go on and create.
It was women who killed their children because they said they would rather their children die than to be held in bondage.
That was too a choice.
What you have to say, Shay?
I was just wanting to say, when you have policies and programs, it's institutionalized. It's no longer a choice.
Correct. When it's built into the Constitution.
Right. And not only that, I mean, you shared a video with us today about redlining. When it's built into
to be a slave or die. You could have died. It was a choice.
And a lot of people did choose to die, but those who chose to
we could get back to Africa.
So I'm just saying, do something else. So for so long, it was just like you said, it was all of these and marched and protested and turned the cheeks.
Somebody said, "Please open the call."
Jonathan said, "Open the call in line."
It was still a choice to handle it differently instead of allowing it and kind of thinking in the back end like, what are we gonna do? Let's come up with something, but still allowing it.
But you know what, Buns? I do respect you because you stand up for whatever your thoughts are, what you believe, and if that's what you truly believe, I have to respect that. Even if I don't agree.
So you think that everybody should have just died, killed themselves?
It's still a choice.
I know.
So
you want us to get down to the basics of, even though it's complete insanity in total,
or not even logical.
We're just gonna get down to it was a choice. It was a choice. It was a choice.
But what wasn't a choice was us being brought over.
But if the other choice was death, then I don't think that that's a real
hold on.
choice.
Cardi B said I only had two choices: to strip or lose. Right? That's what she said.
We're not
knock
bring
down
up.
Tig.
So I just
get up now.
I want to go back to the beginning of my statement.
Go ahead.
That I said I was straddling the fence with slavery being a choice. I said slavery for 400 years for a group of people to sit back and allow that was a choice. So moving right along.
Okay. So do y'all think
I'm
Cardi
so
B
not
was
done
right
with
though?
this topic,
I just
but I'm
want
gonna
to
let it
know
ride.
to strip or lose. Do some people have that choice? Like
it's a perception. Her perception was these are my choices based on her environment and the things that were around her. Do I feel like those were her only two choices? Of course not. But if her perception locks her into this is all I can do, then those were her choices. And I didn't say which choices would. I said it was a choice. So
somebody said, "Why is she still in America?" What?
You.
I mean, that's a choice.
Buns.
That's a choice.
It's a choice, yeah.
Because I breeded and my mates wouldn't be so happy and my children would be torn from their parent. But I've thought about it. So I actually posted last month that I plan on traveling abroad and going to the UK or some other places. Country. I got a friend in Belize.
They racist everywhere.
They are. Y'all know I travel a lot. So
I understand that, but
except in Italy.
I haven't had a lot of negative experiences with racism, so I'll just take
all you, Lil Wayne. You said you haven't had a lot of experiences.
Negative experiences. I haven't, but I still fight for the cause.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of the cause,
yes.
I'm dedicating my segment outside of Kanye or whatever y'all call him.
Kanye.
Kanye Kardashian. Yeah, I'm confused at this point, but it was a choice. So Jordan's 1 year anniversary came about Sunday, and we met with the family to do a balloon release, which we shared live.
For those who may not know who Jordan is,
still go back and watch
he
it.
He is a 15-year-old model student, star athlete that was murdered by Box Springs Police Department's officer Roy Oliver, who thankfully was fired and indicted and currently bonded out with, I think, about $1 million. 2 different charges equaling about $1 million.
Didn't they do a GoFundMe for his bones?
Didn't people pitch in and help?
Yeah.
You know, that's fine because like I said, somewhere it's going to be justice regardless. Right. And like I joke and I told Miko, somebody know his address. So either way, it's going to work out. I wanted to focus more so on the good things because I get sad and I want to cry, and we all discuss being like heart just broken. Yeah. A lot of people don't know I'm a paralegal and I work with Attorney Merritt on a lot of cases, and everybody knows just like a police or a detective, you have like that case that eats you up. Mm-hmm. So Miss Craig in Fort Worth, like Jordan was so family oriented. They live in a nice area, in a nice home. He went to a nice school. He made good grades. It was just crazy. So we have Jordan's mother, Miss Charmaine Edwards, calling in, and she's just going to share a few words with us. And we'll be brief because she's kind of tired and dealing with a lot right now, given it's her son's 1 year anniversary of his death. Miss Edwards?
Yes, ma'am.
How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
We're good. I'm glad you hung on with us. We had a couple of technicalities. But we just briefed everybody watching the cast over who Jordan was, and I kind of gave them an idea of who you guys were when I met you guys. I just mentioned I didn't want us to be just like really sad and deep, because every time I run into y'all, everybody's just kind of keeping it upbeat, you know, and focusing on the positive things. And I always see you guys so warm and loving and happy, so I kind of stick my feelings in my back pocket, like, okay, I can't be sad because they're not sad.
Right.
And just like anything you wanted to say to, you know, the people that you know support Jordan and all of us fighting for him, anything you want to say, I just wanted to open up the floor to you.
I would like to say thanks for the continued support, because we're going to need it. This is a long process, a long road ahead of us, and we're just going to still need prayers and support. So we thank everyone that has supported us thus far, and just keep praying for us.
And you said Jordan didn't fool Kanye, right?
No,
he already knew.
Not
at all. So I was like, we can't dedicate any songs to Kanye, right? But that's good. That's good, because the record reflects that the society thinks he's crazy. So
right.
That's good.
Yes, he is.
She said he is crazy.
He is.
So, did any of you ladies have questions, or?
How is it? Like, has the family, like, has you guys, have your attitudes changed, like, towards police, or like what is the mood in the house now?
Well, of course, my boys are terrified of the police.
Right.
They'll probably never look at them the same, even though, I mean, you would like to think that you won't hold everyone accountable for one person's actions, but it just doesn't work that way. Like, you're going to have in the back of your mind that things like this will continuously happen, and it's like, it's proven.
Right.
Look how many deaths we've had with not just my child, but other people.
Right.
So it's being proven. So, yeah, they're going to be terrified of them.
Yeah, that's fair. I have 2 boys, and Jordan and Camden had the same best football number, and they actually played in the same league. I think he played with the Texans, right, for a while.
And I think Lisa's son played with Jordan Edwards in Little League also.
So it's hard not to see my son when working on the case, or just seeing him on TV. Because he's slender and he's funny and he was
cool and he was smiling.
Right. And it's hard not to see my child and think, am I raising them to be model citizens just for something
but
like
obviously that doesn't, right. It doesn't matter if you're a model citizen.
There's no requirement. There's no uniform. You could be doing absolutely nothing.
Yes, you could be doing everything right. And as parents, we try to instill values and everything in your kids. And I feel like we did that. And these are still the end result. So, I mean, just keep your kids on a straight path. Because, like, for instance, our situation, it's nothing that they can say to say that Jordan did anything wrong, or, to warrant this.
There is no way that he could be vilified.
Like with other kids, they will try to say that they are menaces and everything else, but you have nothing to say that this is the type of child he was.
And it's sad that we have to get down to you have nothing to say.
Right.
Right.
But you're right. You have nothing to say about Jordan at all.
So what can the community do to support you and your family through this process? Because we do know it's a long process. So what can we do as a community? I know you said pray. Is there anything else that we can do? People to write, talk to?
Just awareness. Like, this is an ongoing thing in our community, whether it's here or it's somewhere else. Like, needs to be, this has to stop.
The conversation.
I mean, it has to stop. I mean, it's nothing at this point, like we're at a standstill, but, eventually I do want to have workshops or something to kind of bring awareness to our kids so they know what to do in situations like this.
Right. You have our full support.
Because,
I was going to say,
because this affects the whole community, not just my household.
Right, right. And so have you done anything differently in your household, with your children after going through this? Because you know how we had a police officer on here like a few weeks ago, and he was just saying like, hey, basically, you know how you're perceived, and so basically act accordingly when you're.
What? But what happens when you're acting accordingly?
Right, I was going to say, I don't think it's anything she could have done. It's no rhyme or reason why. I mean, even if you're acting accordingly, this stuff still happens.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That's true.
Right. And Xavier Spida Gilbert, Lord, your name is long, Brown. The community can help by going out to the town hall meetings and voting the right people in office that not only help us but support us as well. And that's a really great point, because people don't understand that, the laws are pushed in a certain way to where the police do have a lot of leeway. However, the state they're able to create more restraint on the laws and create tougher laws against these type of acts. So, but we have to get these people strategically placed in office in order to get the agendas that. But I don't want to get into politics.
Right. But we really, really appreciate you calling in and sharing your story and everything about your son with us. And I just want to let you know that if you do get out and start doing workshops, anything like that, you have 30 something podcasts complete support.
Yeah,
we will talk about it and bring it up and let people know that's what you have going on. So just let us know.
And how can we donate to the scholarship fund?
Oh, I wanted to bring that up. I think I'm sorry, Charmaine, if you were going to say something. It was a scholarship set up for Jordan with the group Dear White People, and it was several people that reached out and helped, but I just wanted to give them a shout out because they reached out, and I think 4 of the cast members had called our office, and they were just hurt. Like, everybody was hurt. I think Nas said something, Kobe Bryant. It's like the whole world just stopped, and that was just so cool. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Scholarship
I
fund.
forgot to mention that,
Scholarship
and I
fund.
actually had a clip of them, but we don't have time to support their white people right now.
Can you tell us how to donate to the scholarship fund?
Yeah. I want to tell y'all, but I don't know exactly like
We'll
how to
post
get
it
to
to
the
the
link.
page.
I just had it saved. So,
We'll post it to the page.
Forward the information to
Okay.
you guys.
Thank you.
And then y'all can access it from there.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a great night.
Have a good night.
And now we're gonna go to our commercial break from our.
Tell them to hang tight.
Oh, and hang tight because when we come back, we have Lee. He'll be on Skype, and we'll be talking to him more about Jordan Edwards and about R. Kelly. Mute R. Kelly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sylvester the Molester.
Are you hot?
Been caught
It's
urinating
hot
in
in here.
public?
I'm hot. No, I'm hot.
No, but it was a hot guy in there.
Not that kind of hot. We need Metro Men. For all of your air conditioning and heating services, please contact Metro Air Conditioning and Heating Services at 214-948-8888 or visit him on the web at metroacs.com. You can also find him on Facebook at Metro Air Conditioning and Heating Services. He's been in business since 1990, a member of the Better Business Bureau with a AAA rating. And he may not be hot, but he'll make sure that you're not. Now, where's that other guy?
AAA rating, and he may not be hot, but he'll make sure that you're not. Now, where's that other guy?
Call Wild Monkey Design right now. That's every man's right. And will defend your freedoms in court. Call this number at the bottom of your screen.
The day I was diagnosed with diabetes was the worst day of my life. When the doctor told me how expensive all my medicine was gonna be, I nearly fainted. I'm on a fixed income. But Wild Monkey Design was there for me. They pay for my medication and even deliver it to my door. Thank you, Wild Monkey Design.
Do you struggle putting beans in your chicken roast? Nothing you try seems to work? Now you can put those worries behind you with a Grinder Bean 2.0, brought to you by Wild Monkey Design.
We don't do any of this shit. We're a Wild Monkey Design, your identity design firm. We do web design, web development, analytics, SEO, social media integration, logo design, and layout design. Call us today for a quote. Hey, bro, what you over there doing, man? What you better do web design, web development, analytics, SEO, social.
Thank you so much for coming back to the show. Okay, thank you so much for coming back to the show. We have a very special guest tonight, Lee Merritt, social justice activist and civil rights attorney born in Philly. He graduated from Morehouse and Temple University with his mindset on making changes in the world. He has taken on several high-profile cases against police brutality. And tonight we are here to discuss a young, vibrant, talented, and very much loved young man by his family and his community, Jordan Edwards, on his 1-year anniversary of his death. And Lee is the attorney representing Jordan and his family as they pursue justice and continue to fight to end police killings and brutality. Do we have Lee on the line?
Jordan Edwards on his 1-year anniversary of his death. And Lee is the attorney representing Jordan.
We got it.
He got him on the line.
Yeah, I've got him. He should be able to hear us. Lee, can you
Hey,
hear us?
Lee. Are you there?
I just hear the Matrix.
He's there.
Right, there he is.
Hi,
What's up,
Lee.
Lee?
Hey, we can see you.
We can see you now.
You always sweating.
All right.
He has on his American Black Cross.
Okay.
Hey.
Is there some type of noise?
One.
There he is. Hi, Lee.
Hey, we
I ain't gonna never hear
It's a
any of this.
delay.
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out why we're
No, it's like
Right.
Okay. Are you there? Can you hear better?
Now we can't hear him.
If we can read lips, this would be awesome.
Yeah.
Ladies, I'm so sorry.
1
Hold on,
second.
Lee. Hold on, podcasters.
It's like a
Bob's
teensy
about to
bit of
snap on somebody. Man,
ratchetness.
Mr. Williams.
It's a teensy
Let
bit
me
of
tell
ratchet.
you. Let me tell you a little bit about it.
Can you go ahead and talk for him real quick?
Are you there, Lee?
Yep.
Okay, good.
Yay!
All right. Look at Black Jesus.
We have
Won't
a
he
new
do it?
we have a new engineer
Black Jesus.
here tonight. We apologize for all of the technical
I'ma holler at Rick
difficulties.
when it's over.
I don't know if you heard me introduce you, but I tried to give some background information on you. I was telling them about where you went to school at and that you're on the case doing Jordan Edwards. And I just wanted to know if there was anything. I want to open the floor if you want to tell them anything about yourself. And then we'll get into more about the case with Jordan Edwards.
Nah, I think there's enough going on in the world. We can skip me.
Skip you tonight. Right. Okay. So the first thing, I just want everybody to know that doesn't know exactly what happened that night that Jordan Edwards lost his life. If you could describe to us the scene or what happened.
Yeah, so we've gone over it many times. In fact, we were just this past weekend with the family walking through the location of where everything happened, because they need to start to prepare for trial. And one of the main questions I get, sorry, I'm dealing with a bee outside.
A wasp.
Everybody's gonna land on your nose.
Okay.
One of the main questions I get is, what's going on with the trial? And right now the trial is set for June. Roy Oliver, the officer who took the life of Jordan Edwards. It's more than a year out. We can talk about why that is. I think it's a glaring injustice in our social justice, our criminal justice system, that you can murder a 15-year-old on camera.
Right.
Spend the next year and a half to 2 years
at home, enjoying your life,
enjoying the comforts of home, but you can be accused of stealing a backpack with no evidence
and go to jail for 3
solitary
years
confinement.
before you. Right.
So it's just it's
unfortunate, and it's something that we need to continue to fight against.
But I'm sorry, this bee is not gonna leave me alone. It won't let me be.
They won't let you be great. That's how we feel about the studio tonight. They won't let us be great.
We're gonna work through it all though.
So.
But yes, the facts. I'm sorry if y'all want me to. I can spend maybe 20 seconds giving you.
Go ahead. Okay.
All right. So Jordan, on the night of April 29th, 2017, Jordan Edwards attended a high school party from his school, Mesquite High School. It was his first party that he was allowed to go to. He went there with his older brothers. He had 2 brothers who were about a year older than him, respectively, and he had 2 twin friends, the Evans twins.
Lee versus the B, someone said.
Versus the B.
The Evans twins that I think I'm just gonna go ahead and kill it. You know what I need?
Got a church shoe. I know, with the sweater. We weren't gonna know that.
This is like a magical podcast night. It'll never be this great.
Bloopers. This
one is real. Trying to force you to join the
Did you kill it? Did you kill
it? They forced him to join the Beehive.
Yeah.
Okay.
I got it.
Okay, good.
But yeah, so they went to this party, strict rules. They had to clean the house all day. They were hanging out with the dad. Dad saw them to the party, told them if anything goes wrong, if there's weed, if there's alcohol, if there's fighting, guys can be straight home.
Right.
And the boys went there with the plan. It turned out it was a pretty clean party. There was just kids from the high school there. There was no drinking. There was no drugs. There were some loud noise complaints in the neighborhood. And so law enforcement came out and broke up the party at about 10:30.
It's big.
This is great.
Right.
Look at this shoe. I can't.
It's
You know, when I usually see him, he's pretty poised in the suit.
I know, to see this is
I
funny.
honestly thought he would pull out a flip flop. I was about to be like, yeah.
I low-key think he's scared, but you know.
Right, I agree.
I'm not about that life.
Not about the Beehive life.
Oh, I saw him that time. He almost got you.
This is hilarious.
Right. I cannot.
I'm sorry, I'm just not. I'm not gonna be stung on
That's okay.
Got him.
I hope we don't have any bee activists watching, because
all right,
right.
Get bad.
That's not gonna be a good look
at all.
I'm too goofy for this.
Okay. We having issues.
It's a very serious moment.
Now the story takes a really bad turn. As the boys get into the car, they headed home because the cops are at the party, and that sounds like one of the things their dad saw. So they pile into the car, and they're backing out of their parking space, and someone that we've never identified in a parking lot across the street shoot a gun into the air because Texas and everybody loves their guns.
Right.
And so law enforcement heard the gunshots coming from the direction where Jordan's car was leaving. And one officer, Roy Oliver, he ran back to his squad car. He recovered his AR-15 high-powered rifle. He took aim at Jordan's car as he watched it roll away. And he fired shots into him. He fired multiple rounds into the car full of teenage boys, and he struck Jordan in the head. The scene in the car, from what has been described to me, it's just bad. And you know what? I'm gonna.
And his brothers were in the car also.
His brothers were in the car, and in fear that Charmaine is still listening to this podcast, I'm actually going to stay away from this.
Okay.
But it was something that some kids should have never had to live through.
Right.
And law enforcement did what law enforcement does. They formed a
lie. That's what they did.
A lie. Yeah.
And they fed that lie to the public. And they arrested Jordan's brother, took him down to the sheriff's office for questioning. And
as if he hadn't been through enough.
Arrested him for what? What probable cause? For nothing.
I have a question about the procedures after an officer is involved in a shooting. There's no type of lockdown or where they don't get together and have conversations and watch video and talk it over and get the story straight.
And so that's something I emphasize. There's a procedure that exists, and it's a procedure so that they can get the stories together, and so they can
corroborate
evidence, corroborate the stories, etc. And you begin to appreciate that the system is designed to incarcerate poor folks, particularly black and brown people. And the system is designed from the beginning, from the time things first happen, to ensure that cops are not held accountable for the criminal misconduct. And so there is a quarantine, though. Most police officers will tell you that after you kill someone, you should get away from the scene. You'll be quarantined off because that now is a crime scene. Roy Oliver didn't do that. He not only killed Jordan Edwards, he went and he participated in another felony stop. He reached his hand into the car where Jordan was sitting, and he checked Jordan Edwards' pulse on his left hand, which is very important because now he's claiming that Jordan Edwards probably had a gun, and they probably tossed it out of the window. And that's the reason why he shot into the car. And
that's the news story?
That's his defense.
Oh, that's his defense.
What he's offered as a defense in the civil case, that Jordan was a gang member, or at least affiliated, and that he probably had a gun in the car that he tossed out. And you know what? When they performed Jordan's autopsy, they found gunpowder residue on his left hand. And it was transferred there
when he touched his pulse, when he checked his pulse.
And broke the law and contaminated the crime scene.
Right.
But, you know, this is Texas.
And Oliver is unstable.
Texas, since a cop has been convicted of murder. That is by design, because things like this is not unique to Jordan Edwards' case. There's a lot more eyeballs on Jordan Edwards' case, but we're going to have to fight like hell to see Roy Oliver convicted and see the city of Balch Springs held accountable. But a lot of people have asked what they can do. The city of Balch Springs has yet to have a single proclamation, a program, an investigation as a city into the murder of Jordan Edwards and how the department needs to change in order to avoid things like that from happening. The city of Balch Springs is notorious for police brutality. The officer who trained Roy Oliver, Andrew Young, still a field training officer there. He too shot up a car that was driving away and posed no danger to anyone, killing a young black man. That's what Roy Oliver was trained to do. That's what the Balch Springs Police Department is known for. And no one.
That's why they're protecting him. That's why they help with bail and everything.
I have a quick question.
Balch Springs County.
I have a quick question. In your opinion, when it comes to reasonable police officer standards, when a police officer does shoot someone, the question is, did the police officer act as a reasonable police officer would react in that time? Do you feel like current police culture has kind of twisted that definition from reasonable to typical reaction?
Yeah, I mean, the reasonable person standard for law enforcement in the United States is so obscured by bad policing that it's, American police officers are per se unreasonable, right? There's no other modern nation in the world that kills so many of its citizens.
True.
Or put them in jail. Justified. There's entire countries that kill less people in a year than Dallas does in a month. And so, and that's one city. The policing culture in America is so poor that reasonable to an American cop, like there's a kid killed a young man killed in Collin County recently, and I'll just say in Collin County, and he was holding a butter knife. They shot him 20 times.
Damn.
That's reasonable in American courts. And most other countries, they're like, yeah, he was armed with a butter knife.
Like Jason Harrison with the screwdriver.
But it's like the Unabombers and
or
the
Laquan
make it to trial, though. They don't die, ironically.
And you,
so is it a procedural issue or is it really a race issue?
Well, the race issue is built into the procedures.
Right. And so we allow law enforcement officers to use the excuse of fearing for their lives. And if they're trained and conditioned to fear black skin, then fearing for their lives is reasonable.
Right. Exactly.
When a young lady, Justine, in the Twin Cities, popped out on that black officer, he saw a threat. And so he used his training, his instinct. He pulled out his gun and he shot her several times.
And he's indicted.
To terminate the threat. But, when white people look at the case, when our white judicial system looks at the case, they say, that was a white woman. She wasn't you couldn't have perceived her as a threat. She was innocent as they come.
Right.
But if you see a little black boy, of course.
12 years old, Tamir Rice. They shot him within 2 seconds, literally within 2 seconds. But,
he's a threat. He looked like a grown man from the description that they got over the radio. He was obviously in a park doing something mischievous with a weapon.
Yeah, 12-year-old in the park. Okay.
Well, did y'all see that video when the lady who worked for the Port Authority, she was cursing out the two officers? White lady?
You're annoying auntie. But yeah. So, if she was black, she would have been, Sandra Bland.
Correct.
How dare she be disrespectful? Did she flick that cigarette? Wasn't that a reasonable threat or not?
Put her hand in his face.
So how do you feel like we take? What steps do you feel like would need to be taken to stop the criminalization of black skin? Like, what steps should we take, or is it even possible?
War.
Yeah. So there's a lot that I actually do case studies on other countries that while I look at their policing, like Japan, for example, they have concentrations of poverty in Japan like we have in America, large places where poor people gather like projects. In those projects, they have drugs and they have some of the largest gangs in the world. And so you think, all right, we got concentrations of poverty, we got drugs, we got gangs, and then we have police forces that go in and police those communities.
Right.
Japan killed last year?
Not one person.
Damn.
They shot 6 bullets in all the country of Japan. Their population is on
so it's America.
Well, they train their officers to de-escalate.
Right.
And when we talk about the culture again,
like even in Canada with the Canadian cop, he refused to shoot that guy who had ran over those pedestrians on the sidewalk. He completely refused to shoot him, and he was able to arrest him without incident.
That's another big
do that in America. I'm sorry.
He is gone straight family reunion with the flies and the bees.
I'm thinking like there must be a hive here.
I'm like,
he must have on this good cologne. The bees and
the
stuff.
beehive.
It's in the Yaki.
They heard that she killed the first
that cool water.
Yeah, they pretty.
Yeah, it was like somebody said Candyman around here. But
okay. No, you old.
So I do want us to revisit about you know.
No, Jordan. I wanted
Jordan Edwards.
Yeah, I wanted to say one other thing. In the past 40 years, you had told me that Texas, or is it the Dallas area, hasn't seen a indictment or a conviction. Did he leave? Is he gone?
I hear you.
Oh, he haven't received a conviction or an indictment in 40 years. What steps or what is it that you're going to do different, or what are your plans? Because I know that there's been other cases, and I sometimes wonder if it's the lawyer that's dropping the ball on the case and why we're not getting the conviction, or if it's the justice system that's stopping. So I don't know if you study other cases, or maybe what they did and what you can do differently. And I was just wondering, what are your plans, or can you tell us how you're gonna?
It's a little of both. And so what we first have to understand is that there's civil lawyers and there's criminal lawyers, and that the person responsible for prosecuting law enforcement officers is your elected district attorney's office. Mm-hmm. So what I do in my practice is that I advocate for our elected officials to do the right thing. We go out and find evidence, we feed them witnesses, and then we turn on the public pressure and say, hey, we'll lay out the case to the community who the DA works for. And we say, look, this is all the evidence that you have, and this is what the law requires you to do. You're going to do it or you're not, but if you choose not to do it, you're not going to be reelected.
Do you feel like there's a reason why she sat on this case for so long?
I don't think Faith Johnson is interested in prosecuting cops. When it's all said and done, she is a
and that's exactly what I need to hear.
She is a Trump-era conservative Republican.
Okay.
That is what she is. She's a back-to-blue Trump-era conservative Republican. She's a Greg Abbott appointee. She's not making any friends by prosecuting cops. Now, she will go after Roy Oliver because it's popular in Dallas and they'll get her reelected. Yeah. But she had already failed the Jordan Edwards family because she didn't go after his partner, who was complicit in making up lies. She didn't go after the chief.
Right.
She didn't go after the Dallas County Police Department, the Dallas Police Department, who 3 weeks earlier could have prevented Jordan Edwards' murder. A young woman named Monique was accidentally rear-ended Roy Oliver in a car accident, and Roy Oliver got out and put a gun on her.
Oh, yeah, I heard that story.
And that young lady was trying to report that crime to the Dallas Police Department. Wow. And the Dallas Police Department actively covered it up, actively hid evidence from her. They had his body. They had him on body camera bragging about. This is the most upsetting thing about this case. Roy Oliver talked to those Dallas County police officers or Dallas police officers, and he said, she's lucky that I didn't grab my AR-15. And he went to the back of his car, his private car, and he pointed out the gun that 3 weeks later he would kill Jordan Edwards with. Wow. He was committing a crime the entire time, and then he let him go.
There's no accountability.
And Faith Johnson hasn't prosecuted them. If she wants to prove that she's tough on cops and she just cares about the law, go after everybody, not just
right.
Of course, we're going to defend Jordan Edwards, the 15-year-old honor student, perfect victim. But how many Jordan Edwards do we have to have before you get to the point in your
we got to make choices.
To go after corruption within the department.
Corruption, yes.
Dallas is number 3 for police-involved shootings on a global scale. There's Phoenix, Philadelphia, and Dallas. It's a dangerous place to be a citizen. And we just had, I think, 2 officers shot in Dallas. And, there was media and people were by their bedsides.
And back in the blue.
The mayor got on the TV and said he's tired of cops being disrespected. And it's a dangerous, dangerous job. It's dangerous to be a citizen. And
to be a person of color.
With police shootings police being shot by cops compared to cops being shot by citizens, 17-1. You have you're 17 times more likely to be shot as a citizen than as a cop. Wow. And so it's dangerous for us. I feel for families of law enforcement officers who put themselves in the line of danger and pay the ultimate sacrifice. But I also feel for unarmed citizens and families like Jordan Edwards or Deontay Yarborough, Tamir Rice, or countless others who they didn't volunteer to put themselves in the line of danger. They were just trying to grab a Sprite or return home from a party and pick up a friend from Walmart.
That's so true. And we do appreciate you going into the courtroom for us, for the community, and speaking out and pursuing justice for us in the courtroom. And we really appreciate you coming on tonight. We do want to, but there's one other thing, and we don't have a lot of time, but we do want to go into the case that you have right now, currently, with R. Kelly, the mute R. Kelly. Could you give us like a little brief information on that, because we have to.
I'll try to keep it brief, but I'm also give you breaking news. I had a new victim call me today.
Damn.
And I don't mind telling her story. She's out of Alabama. She said no one will listen to me.
Breaking exactly what I said.
And I was basically a victim of R. Kelly, and I want to talk about something that may be a little more controversial. R. Kelly is getting smart enough not to mess with underage girls. He's still messing with underage girls. But only ones that he's conditioned, he's covered up, and he's paid for a very long time. He's messing with teens, 18, 19, just legal.
Just legal.
Right.
And we as a community says, well, they are adults.
Exactly.
And that's not fair. And it's not something that we would allow, at least cognitively, white men to do, to come in and call 18-year-old little girls his pets. And train them to be a part of the sex code and infect them with incurable STDs and illegally furnish them alcohol or drugs and take advantage of them.
Right.
It's not something that we should allow. R. Kelly is a pure predator. There's mountains of evidence of cases that have been resolved. But he's written big checks for a long time. And I can tell you my client, who we haven't revealed her identity yet, she's not interested in his money. She wants to stop doing it.
No, that's right.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, we really, really appreciate you coming on tonight.
do.
We want to get you live
on
the set
to bring him down. That's what I hope.
We do.
Yeah, you
After you bring him down, you're in here. After we get Box Springs,
we're gonna have an exclusive interview.
Yes, breaking news with Lee
this
Merritt.
40-year legendary conviction.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We do appreciate it.
And local voting is happening in a few weeks, right?
Well, actually, they have the last day for early voting was today.
Okay.
May 5th is for the local elections.
Right.
Those very, very, very important judgeships.
Correct. And vote, people.
And May 5th is when
Go
we
out and
host
vote
the
Whitmore. Go out and vote Rosales. I'm going to leave somebody out, but there's a lot of very important races going.
Put it on your page. We'll put it on
so
our
we
page.
can share it, because we have to vote. We got to get the right people in, get these cases, get people persecuted. We have to make a shift. Yeah.
Good night, Lee. Good night. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank y'all for tuning in.
But we also have one other. We wanted to show the last.
Yeah, we have a flyer. Just want to make sure everybody is abreast that Frito-Lay is having a job fair, and it's going to be in Duncanville. We'll post it on our page. And that is the address. Going to be at 3548 Duncanville Road, and they're hiring truck drivers, maintenance mechanics, diesel mechanics, machine operators, processing techs, and sanitors. So if you are looking for a job, you can go on our page and we'll post that for you guys. So thank you so much for tuning in.
Yes, thank you for episode 7.
It was rough today, but we made it.
Hashtag Jordan Edwards, keep his name alive. We're continuing the fight. Justice for Jordan.
Love you guys.
Good night.